Hi, I'm Rohan Joshi. I graduated from Esade Business School. I was 2014 batch, and now I'm working with SBI Funds Management in the International Business Division. Before applying to the program, I was working as a corporate lawyer. I graduated from Symbiosis Law School. I did a 5-year integrated BBA LLB course. And after graduating, I got campus placements, and I was placed with Kotak Mahindra Bank, where I worked initially in the regional department in Delhi, and then later on in the corporate office at Mumbai. So before choosing the country, I was more particular about the area in general. I knew that I did not want to study in US because it's a 2-year course. I didn't want to devote that kind of time. I'd already done a 5-year course, and I thought that I'd studied a little too much. So I thought 1-year course would give me the flexibility and the option of coming back to the job market a little earlier, which it did. And Europe, obviously, for personal reasons as well, because you get to travel a lot more, you get to see a lot more different, you experience a lot more very different cultures as well. So it did make sense at some point.
Please discuss which colleges you had applied to and what were your top choices.
So given the background, and I was only looking at Europe or Asia because of the options back home, because of the brand recognition back home, I was looking at Hong Kong University, which I had an admit from. I was looking at Vlerick, which is a European school, Vlerick Leuven Ghent. That is another one that I had. I had an admit from Queen's University in Canada as well. That was just another option. So I was keeping all the options open other than from US. And once I got Esade, I decided that was it because it seemed like a good fit. Initially, I thought I'll apply to a lot more schools once I have an option. But then, when you know, you know. So I met these people and I thought it was a good fit. So you start with a basic application online, and once you've done that, they shortlist you. So basically, you write essays and you submit the transcript and stuff. In certain cases, you also can do a pre-check with them. So you give them the basic details, and if they're interested, they'll call you back. And so once you've applied with the essays and your transcripts and your GMAT scores and everything, they will shortlist you. So once you're shortlisted, somebody usually from the admissions team comes down to Bombay. You have an info session. You meet the alums. The alums also give feedback. That's a relatively new process. But other than that, you have an interview, and it's a case-based interview as well. So first half, the person who's conducting the interview would leave you with a case study, and you're supposed to present it for 30 minutes. So you work on it and you present it first up. Then the questions about your profile and your experience and other things. So the education system in Spain, that's an interesting question. It's very different from India, number one. I think I can speak for my university because that's what I saw. So my university is very Western in its approach. Basically, you learn a lot by doing things yourself. And the unique thing that we did was even before we went to Esade, or I think it was in the initial phase of our stay at Esade, they conducted psychometric tests and this and that. So basically, they tried to see what kind of category do we fall in as learners. So somebody could be in a simulator, somebody could be something else. I'm just forgetting the names exactly. But then, so they gave you your learning style. And once you have that at the end, the beginning of a competitive program, that really helps because you know what works best for you. I think other than that, it's less theoretical and more practical in its approach. Yeah, so being a lawyer, although I have a BBA, LLB, but being a lawyer in a B school is never easy. And for any prospective lawyers who are applying to B schools, I'd say the same, that be very careful. It's a huge learning curve. It's definitely worth it, but then you'll end up learning a lot because your classmates could also be people who've been doing this professionally, who've studied the same subjects at undergrad level. So adjustment was a bit tough initially, but then my classmates help, and that's where the teamwork that I talked about really helped. Because at Esade, we have a unique thing. So we even before exams, the people who are good at a subject, they conduct tutorials for the other students. That is practically unheard of in Indian B schools. And with all due respect, I may be wrong, but then I haven't heard of these things taking place in Indian campuses where it's very more competitive. I recall one instance where we had an open book exam for a strategy paper, and one of my classmates had a paper and the other one did not. So this lady, a Ukrainian girl, she got up and she said, she said to the professor, she said, I have this paper, there's nothing written on it. I think the other one does not have it because the other person had made it very clear. And she said, I've not written anything, she may be able to use it. So nobody does that in an exam, especially in the Indian or American setup. I think it's very competitive. The very fact that we're not marked on a bell curve is probably one of the reasons for it as well. So you're only responsible for what you get. And obviously how you play in a team, how your team does overall as well. Structure-wise, I think a professor has a lot to say, a lot of say in how the courses are structured. But mainly, Esade follows a case-based and classroom discussion mix. So what that means is, while we discuss, so a class is divided into two parts. First part, you may either have a lecture and followed by a case study that you prepared from home and you discuss then in class, or the other way around. You start with the case study, then you take down the points, and then you discuss the learnings from a theoretical aspect. I think this worked really well for someone like me who was a career switcher. So rather than just doing a case, I think it's a case study is very important, yes, but you cannot undervalue the importance of undermine the importance of classroom learning as well. So I think it's a very healthy mix that way. I won't know if there's free time or not, but we ended up doing a lot basically. So you do play football on the weekends because Spain you'd expect it to be a football crazy nation, and we did play football on the weekends. With some of my classmates participated in marathons. We played cricket. We I was into boxing and there's a big gym in the campus, so you do well. I don't know if there's free time to get involved in sports or not, but then I think we did manage to play football on the weekends. We did involve in a lot of sport activities. Spain as a country has a strong sporting culture, so that kind of shows in all the in the day to day life. I think people are generally very active, and that kind of rubs on you as well. So. You have an MBAs in Europe have an MBAT, which is the MBA tournament that HEC Paris organizes, or IESC Spring Games. So basically, there are sporting activities that are part of the student calendar. So a lot of my classmates played football. There's a gym on campus. They were into roller skating, marathons. Basically, salsa is another thing, but that's not a sport. That's more a cultural thing. But we were the MBAT salsa champions at one point. My roommate was a part of that team as well. So basically, yes, there's a lot to do, and I think Esade. Not to quote rankings again, but then I think Esade was recently rated one of the best schools for a social life. So I think that kind of shows. So basically, it's not just that's what I like about Europe as well. It's very extremely hard work for 5 days or 6 days, but then you can also chill, you can also relax. And as a student, I think I'd urge prospective candidates to look in that aspect as well. So fit wise and probably what you want to do. Is it only all about work? Because you become jaded otherwise. So I think it's also very important to have an outlet, to have a creative or a sporting outlet of some sort.